And good afternoon on the East Coast, and good morning to everybody else. Welcome to a Nooner with Dave LaMont. As you see, StreamYard is back right there. And I'm hoping the StreamYard is going to hang with me this time. The last time we tried that, not so much, but we're going to hope that it works, because if I'm ever going to have anybody as a guest on this little show, this is the way to do it. You can't really do it with Facebook Live. So let's just see if this format is going to hang with me for the time I need. There is certainly plenty to talk about today. We've got the return of Major League Baseball last night. Rained out in Washington. As a matter of fact, they had a flood warning there till about 4:15 this morning. So just one of those coincidences. It's the summertime. D.C. is pretty hot and humid this time of the year. And you had L.A. beating San Francisco very handily, 8-1. And now we have 14 games, and it's starting to feel like we have an actual season. A couple of observations, not so much about the baseball part of it, but I was not happy with cutouts. I get the idea, it's cute, and for about 2 minutes, it's good. After 2 minutes, I'm out. As far as that goes, the thrill is gone. So I don't know if those people bought that for the season or not, but I'm asking you, please don't do it. And if you're even thinking about doing it for yourself, please don't do it. It looks awful. And as I mentioned before, I am not a fan of canned noises. Many of us grew up on laugh tracks and comedy shows that kind of, you sort of laugh along with it when something's funny, or even when it's not. Sometimes you fall into that trap. I don't need artificial noises. Baseball has great noises. The crack of the bat might be the number one sports noise that I like. Number two actually would be a bowling ball on the approach and the strike of ball into pins. It's awesome sound. Awesome. And announcers have to be careful not to talk too much over that noise. And if you're a baseball fan, a ball hitting a bat, that's a great sound. A fastball screaming and thudding into a mitt at 98 miles an hour, hitting the catcher's glove, that's a sound. I don't need anything pumped in to make it sound like there's 25,000 people there when we know there's not. So, good for baseball. Glad you're back. It's a half a step toward normalcy, with soccer hanging in there. No problems with MLS that we know about. The United Soccer League began on the 11th. They're still going. And we're going to find out soon about the NBA, and they've already started practice games. The WNBA, we'll find out about. Hockey is getting close to getting everybody together. And, of course, the NFL, and I'll talk about the NFL in a minute. One thing that came out of yesterday, well, actually two. Number one, get off Dr. Fauci's case about his pitch. Some of you actually secretly delighted in a dark way over this, not seeing the humor in it, the fact that a guy as old as Fauci and not a major big physical specimen striding onto the mound to throw a heater. Hey, guy did the best he could. And if you want to laugh at it, laugh at it. But there were some people, I don't know if you know this, but people on social media can be mean. I know. Who knew? And some people really got a little too much jollies out of what happened to the good doctor, okay? So let's get off his case. He's a bit busy right now. And I thought actually it was a pretty clever idea for the Nationals to invite him. Very smart. Probably a very short trip for him. Maybe even took the Metro. You can do that. Walk right from Navy Yard Station, boom, right into Nationals Park. The other thing was, and baseball just dropped this out of the sky. Oh, we're going to have 16 teams in the playoffs this year. And you could just hear the record scratch. Yeah, 16 teams in the playoff. Now, that's too many. It's okay for the NBA. It's okay for the NHL. I understand you're getting more baseball bang for your buck, and there's more potential revenue opportunities for the owners. And as has been pointed out by people smarter than me, owners don't lose money, okay? So don't feel sorry for the owners. Ever. Anyway, I think 16 is too much. I like the way you had it. Although we also, another thing we need to get rid of is the champagne ceremony or the sparkling wine ceremonies after every playoff series win. There should be one, and that should be to the World Series winner and no one else. You don't see an NFL team throw a champagne party for itself after winning a wild card playoff game, now do you? No, because they know they've got more work to do. I've always hated that. And I don't know whether that was brought on by the networks who are looking for a cool backdrop for interviews, but acting like you've already won everything when you haven't already won everything, I think it's sort of unprofessional. Maybe that's a little too old-fashioned on my part. I do have some old-fashioned tendencies, but I don't get that. It's kind of dopey. About as dopey as having 16 teams in your playoffs. But if it means more baseball, that's great. And by the way, if you make a run of the playoffs, you're going to end up playing about a half of a season, right? Maybe more than 81 games. Now, we did have one Nationals player, Juan Soto, test positive for the virus. And he obviously did not play, and we won't see him for a little while. Reminded you, and I'll say it again, this is going to happen. We're going to get people from time to time who are going to pop. So the issue becomes, how well do they handle it? How many? It's just about numbers. Like everything else with baseball is a numbers game, right? People are obsessed with numbers in baseball. Let's hope it's a low number and we can keep playing. Now, I mentioned the NFL. Wake up this morning to labor problems with the league. And now the NFL owners are threatening to kick the players out of camps and not even have camps at all and do all their learning distance learning. And while there may be an approach about that for the schools that's being talked about, especially around where I live in South Florida, for the NFL, that's going to be kind of unusual. But apparently, and I know you're going to be shocked to hear this dispute is about money. Let's rewind to what I said about owners never losing money. But apparently they're concerned about having to pay a full tote in case we don't have a full season. And the players are going, wait a minute, where are our COVID-19 protocols, you putzes? I'm paraphrasing. So you've got, once again, players and owners at odds in the NFL. And if we don't have training camps, that's obviously going to affect the quality of the football if we even play it. And we both know that that may not happen. So we've got that problem for the NFL. But if we do have a season, if you go to a game, if you're going to be one of the precious few, you are going to be wearing a face covering, a mask of some kind. This, of course, is a massive potential revenue stream because a lot of folks are going to want to wear a mask or a face covering of their favorite team, right? So whatever they're going to charge for, $10, $12, 3 for 15, whatever. There's money to be made there, of course. And by the way, I am a capitalist. So I'm not against people making money at all. If I could, I would. I'd love to be a team owner. Check the bank account. Now, I don't think I could sponsor a police athletic league team right now. But it's about money. So there's a face mask opportunity. If you want to buy your team's favorite face mask, face covering, whatever they call it these days, to wear, go for it. It's your money. Have a good time at the games. I wouldn't be there, truthfully. I've got issues with that, I guess. I'm not the only one. But at least it looks like, if y'all had to take 5 cents and throw it on which of the two footballs we're most likely to see, you'd have to pick the NFL. Because today, and I haven't heard anything about what's happened at the meeting yet, today the NCAA is going to have one agenda meeting. What to do about fall sports. Play them, delay them, or cancel them. Now, why would that affect football, you ask? Because the NCAA doesn't control college football. That's controlled by the conferences, the networks, maybe even a few power coaches. Well, let's say you take women's volleyball and tell those ladies, sorry, we're not even going to bother delaying your season. We're just going to wipe it out. And the other fall sports, sorry, can't do it. But hey, everybody, football's coming. It's a bad look. Now, I understand you have every right to say, well, wait a minute. Volleyball is not a revenue sport. Football is a major revenue sport. And there's already going to be some losses. You have to minimize those losses. That's the only thing I think that's holding up a decision on college football not playing is simply the money. It's that simple. Because the losses are so massive, and the negative trickle would be, you remember him, he was Dick Trickle's brother, Negative Trickle, NASCAR driver. The negative trickle financially is going to be devastating and will potentially long-lasting. And in some cases, you can't recover from it. And that's going to affect everybody. Television companies, everything. So I know why they're still fighting to keep the sport going. I know it's a risk. And I'm not going to tell them to sit there and play it. But I am going to tell them to sit there and wait till the last minute before you have to declare your hand. Because it could be a financial disaster. That's coming out later on today. I wanted to talk, and I have to credit Dave Hyde of the Sun Sentinel for writing a column about this and really inspired me to talk about this. And in the time since Dave wrote this column in the Sun Sentinel, things have changed. But earlier this week, the FHSAA, excuse me, the Florida High School Athletic Association, who runs all of the state sports, they held a vote and voted to start what would have been, I think, this weekend, full-on football practices. Let's go get them, boys. It might be worth pointing out to you, in case you missed the story, that they had a medical panel recommend they not do that. And they went against their own medical panel, whom I'm sure didn't work for free. The medical panel said, you might want to wait. 10 out of 15 voters went with a proposal from a legendary coach, I believe, in the Jacksonville area. And that part of Florida has not been clobbered by the virus as we have been down here in the South. Well, this caused a huge problem in the South. Well, guess what? A couple of days later, the FHSAA reversed itself, and instead of July 27th, decided let's move to August 24th. Let's give this a little bit more time. We can get a read the room, lay the land kind of thing, and we'll be okay. You know why they backed off? Because the outcry from South, from Miami-Dade, from Broward, and some from Palm Beach was so big. Miami-Dade was threatening to secede. And if they took Broward, and if Broward grabs Palm Beach, you've got the three biggest counties, along Orange County also, by the way, was against starting early. That's the Orlando area, and a huge place. They were going to form their own deal and just split from the FHSAA altogether. And don't think the people in Miami wouldn't have done it either. If you're not from this area, and even though I'm not in Miami and I live in the Fort Lauderdale area, those folks are very passionate about what is known as the 305. And I would have bet everything I have that they would have come up with a special conference, had their own tournament, their own titles, everything, and just told the FHSAA to stick it. And they basically did, and the FHSAA had to back down because of the legitimacy of state titles. And as you might guess, if you're not from Florida, but maybe you're from Cali or Texas, so you know what high school football means. And it means a lot here in all parts of the state, not just the South, because this is a state that's just dripping with college football talent. You go to Orlando, you go to Tampa, not so much the Panhandle, but they've got their spots. You go over to the other side of where I'm at. You go to the Naples, Fort Myers, Belle Glade, places like that. Some legendary players that come out of there. So the FHSAA looked at that. Well, wait a minute. Maybe we should go back and listen to our doctors. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to listen to our doctors. The 305 flexed muscle. The other thing that became, and I need to tell you this, and because again, if you're not from Florida, there were 9 state football championships awarded in the classifications last year. 8 of them were won by Miami-Dade or Broward County teams. 8 out of 9. So you're not getting the same competition if those schools break off and form their own little country. The state title would have been like, yay, we beat another team from our area, yay. But it was weak, watered down. What did Ric Flair say? To be the man, you've got to beat the man. And buddy, I don't think you're man enough. I'm the man. And that's basically what Miami-Dade said. And they were right. It's also a victory for common sense. As I mentioned, I think on the very first episode of this show, I spoke to a high school athletic director in this county. And her concern was what happens if we really do play games? How are we really going to do this? We're certainly not going to have fans. We're not going to have a band. We're not going to have the cheer teams out there. The experience is going to be different. And there's going to be concerns about a string of positive tests and quarantining. High school football is in grave danger this year. Look what they're doing already in California. It's just said, the heck with it, man. We're going to do it later. And if Texas changes its mind and caves in, that's not fair, changes its mind and decides to postpone or not play, you don't think that's going to be an outcry, an uproar in Texas? You're nuts. Of course it is. And it would be here too. And it will be if football isn't played. But it may have to be that way. But it looks like the FHSAA smelled the bacon, got smart, and they backed down. And it was the ultimate power play by the biggest power player. This is a weird state. The capital is up north in Tallahassee, the state capital. A lot of the population goes from Orlando down south. And I can't forget about Tampa, St. Pete. That's a heavily populated area too. It's a weird state. It's about 3 states in one. And every goofy thing you read about in Florida, we all go, yeah, we know. But this time, a good Florida story, in my view, anyway. The power of one county, one big county, to say, I'm not doing it your way. You need to do this our way, which is the right way. And Miami-Dade was dead right. So good for them. And by the way, your best college players are coming from here, even over Texas and Cali. The 2 counties, just a rich vein of talent. It's unbelievable what you see down here. So good for them, is what I'm trying to say. A couple of other items before we go fix the English language. And I only have one word in particular, but one concept that we're going to talk about on that today. Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr., who is a vastly overlooked fighter in the history of the game, are going to have a little exhibition. Mike is 54. I don't even know how old Roy is. 40s, right? But they're going to fight. And apparently this fight is going to be on a new app because we need more apps in the world. And we need more social apps. That apparently this company, and Tiller, I think it is, trying to go after TikTok. I'm not a TikTok guy because I can't do these kind of dances in 15 seconds. I just don't look very coordinated. Couldn't do it in 15 minutes either. So that's where you're going to find a fight. So you're going to have to pay for something probably, and I'm not a pay-per-view guy. Tyson says whatever he gets out of it, he's donating to charity, and hopefully Roy will do the same, or at least a portion of it. And you know what? There's going to be some interest. Mike Tyson has fascinated us for decades. Since we first saw him come out with the low socks, or maybe even no socks, no robe, no entourage, just Mike. Bam, bam, bam. You're out. Next. He was legitimately frightening, and he did scare some fighters before the fight ever started. There were guys who walked in there who were beat the second they laced up the shoes and the gloves. You know his history. It's not a pretty one, but the son of a gun is resilient. If nothing else, whether you don't like him, you have to give him resiliency because he is. He has been down low. He has been in prison. And the whole country knew it, and people mocking him, cruel things they were said to him, some of which he probably deserved. I'm not going to defend some of the things that he did. He can't. But he's bounced back. He was a key part of the Hangover movie. He did a one-man show where he talked about his life and didn't leave stuff out. Kind of wished I'd seen it. I don't think it ever came down here. I would have loved to have seen that. He's got a pretty cute cartoon that shows up on Adult Swim. I see him in his tracksuit, and I can't think of the name of it. But it's cute. I've watched it. It's funny. He has become a celebrity. He shows up. He's going to be a feature on Shark Week coming up. Somehow, Mike Tyson has persevered at 54 years old to become kind of popular. And I'm sure now more people will think of him as the ex-fighter rather than the ex-con. And that's a hell of a redemption act right there. Because not everybody can do that. So I give him credit. He came from nothing. He was at the top. He was the baddest man on the planet. And then he wasn't. And he's not the baddest man on the planet now. But he seems to be comfortable with who he is. And maybe that's something new to him. And I hope he maintains it. But I'm not going to pay for the fight. This guy's retired boxers, 8 rounds. Come on, man. I'm not doing that. I want to, my friend Paul sent me a text last night, said, you should put this on your show. And I wish I had a photo of this, but you can find this very easily. I think it was heavy.com that had this story. At Disney, at the NBA bubble, where, by the way, they're going all out to try to pretend there's people there, too. And again, I'm a little creeped out by it. I watched some of the Heat preseason game, and they had these electronic fans. They had electronic Laker girls last night for the Lakers who'd lost to the Mavs. Go Mavs. They had these panels. This is Disney, so you can, Disney can do pretty much entertainment-wise whatever it wants, whatever, they can put on a show, as you know. But they had the Laker girls in panels on a screen. And I don't know if they were live in some studio someplace or whether they recorded all of this, not pre-recorded. Remember? Recorded. And did all of their, the Laker girl dances and all that to make it look like a Lakers home game. Okay. They're trying. They're trying. By God, they're trying. But the story out of the bubble in Orlando, besides the fact that Dwight Howard didn't know the coronavirus could be passed through the air, he does now, trust me, is that there's a Houston player named P.J. Tucker who lugged into the bubble 91 pairs of shoes, sneakers, I think primarily. To call him a sneakerhead cannot be understated. He had, unless he hired a buddy to do it, 91 pairs of shoes had to be packed, hauled, or shipped to the bubble. And I don't know how big his hotel room is. Maybe this guy is the world's greatest organizer, and when he retires from the NBA, he can become an interior decorator or get a show on HGTV where he does closets or shoes. Because I don't know how you do 91 pairs of shoes. He says he spends $200,000 a year on shoes, and he will have in an online cart as many as 40 pairs of shoes, 80 shoes. He's got Air Jordans that Michael doesn't have. Okay, I think he's got rare Air Jordans. So 91 pairs of shoes. Look, if I could blow $200,000 a year on something, I would. First, I'd have to make $200,000 a year, but that's besides the point. So I just think it's cute and it's kind of funny, and I thought I'd mention it because it's worth mentioning that 90, and they don't do roommates and stuff like that. It's not like he has a roommate who walks in and he can't open the door because there's boxes of shoes pushed all over the room. I'm guessing if you've got 91 pairs of shoes, that you've organized that room. There's no way that there's like an Air Jordan over here and a Nike something over here and Puma Clydes over here and Larry Bird Converse over there or whatever is out there. He's organized. I guarantee it. So if you see PJ Tucker next time you watch the Rockets, just think 91 pairs of shoes. All right, time for another edition of Let's Fix the English Language. Today I want you to take a deep breath, maybe utter a mantra or two. Close your eyes if you'd like. Get into a relaxed pose because I'm going to teach you not to be afraid of something. I don't want you to be afraid of two little letters, L-Y. Yes, the adverb letters. Now, I've talked about irregardless, which is bad. I've talked about pre-recorded, which we know is redundant. This is one that makes me silly. I am taking this fix the English language really serious. No, I'm not. Because if I really was serious, I'd be taking it seriously. You don't take something serious. You take it seriously. That's a big one. And I've seen it written. I've heard people say it. I hear it on TV. And I always go like this, Lee. Seriously. Look up adverbs. And I was looking for other ones that this could happen to. I looked at adverbs. There's a list of at least 100 that I looked at last night. But seriously is the worst offense. Seriously, it is. You can be serious. You can say someone's in the hospital in serious condition. Seriously, you can do that. But you don't take it serious. You take it seriously. So that's your tip of the day, because that's one that I had to say. Thank you, Alejandro, telling me that Roy Jones Jr. is 51. I think I said he was younger than that, but thank you, Alejandro, for pointing that out to me. A couple of old boys going to go slugging at it for a while. I think they're going to use like pillows for. It'll be fun. I'm just not going to spend my $29 whatever they're going to charge. They're probably going to charge for it, right? Before I go, a shout out to my friends at Mission Barbecue for feeding our production staff today, which consists of my wife and I, and maybe a scrap or two to the dog. The guys at Mission are wonderful. They have great barbecue if you've ever been. There's one in Davie. I know they're all over the country, particularly in the South. And the other thing I like about Mission Barbecue, besides the kick-ass food, is that they have a big heart for troops and first responders. And if you ever go into a mission, you'll see what I mean. But if you do go, if you get an iced tea or a soda, get one of those hero cups, would you? Because that helps people. So again, thanks to Tom for delivering food to the house today. It was a real treat. We are stuffed. Usually I close out by saying, hey, I'm going to go make my lunch now. But no, I'm in a food coma. I'm going to go take a nap now is what I'm going to do. But that'll do it for today's editions. Baseball's back. I'm happy. The NFL, we don't know what they're doing. Neither do they. You don't mess with the 305. Seriously. So I'm off for the weekend. I'll see everybody Monday. I am going to try to get a guest this week because StreamYard stuck with me this time. I'm happy. So that means I can bring somebody on, and I already know who I have in mind, and I think I've revealed that already. So I got to work on those negotiations over the weekend. That's it. I hope you have a fun and safe, and if you're in South Florida, dry weekend. I'm Dave LaMont. I will see you Monday at noon Eastern Time. Take care.